Welcome to Align Your Practice, an exploration of the seamless relationship between the business of chiropractic and the future of natural health care. Join us as we engage with an array of talent, from seasoned experts to passionate new entrepreneurs. Now, here's your host, Dr. Joe Esposito.
Hi, welcome to Align Your Practice podcast. This is Dr. Joe Esposito. I'm excited for today's topic, talking about referrals. I got my good friend, awesome chiropractor, Dr. Stephen Franson. How are you?
What's up, Dr. Joe? What's up, everybody?
I'm excited for this, Doc. I remember speaking at your convention, and I was in the front of the room, and I was talking about marketing. I go, just be really frustrated at everything and healthcare, and you'll build a practice if you really, in your heart, are just totally frustrated and mad. I remember that being one of my I don't know if that's great coaching, Stephen, or if that's all hard, but when we get into the referral thing, it's got to be mission-based, man. It can't be building a practice. But I want to let you take it away to open this thing, but I think it's got to come from the heart.
Yeah, I'm actually going to quote you because it's one of my favorite Joe Esposito quotes, which was, you got to be pitching it, right? So it was, I'm part pissed, part passionate. And that's exactly that's one voice, right? That's one style, that's one approach to it. And I think what's really critically important is that passion is always going to be part of it. Because if you're not passionate, that's what's going to come through. Everything else, it's got to be genuine passion for our mission and for our purpose. And whether you are excited for people, or you're pissed off at what's going on in the world, or you're angry and you want to defend your patients and your community, or you're on the positivity side of things and you're just trying to inspire people to make changes, wherever it is, it all has to be passion plus something that's genuine for you.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think I always try to teach that, when we're in our huddle in the morning, we may look at what are we trying to accomplish on the business or closing the day. But then once you take that hat off and put on your serving hat, then it's about the people, it's about the mission. And you don't want to be asking for referrals to build a business. I just think that's a bad way of approach. You want to build a business, you want to ask for referrals to serve people that don't know about this awesome opportunity of chiropractic and live in that space. So people think they're concerned because the patient's thinking you're trying to build your business. That's the common thread of this. I don't want them to think I'm building a business. I'm like, well, you own a business and you're going to build it. But if it comes from your heart and the fact that you truly want to help people live better lives, your business is going to grow.
That's right.
But it's the context of being in scarcity or pain or trying to survive. And if that energy is I got to, again, get new patients. I don't like getting. There's no acquisition. It's a flow of energy from people suffering to a place of healing. It's passive. It's diffusion. It's not active transport. It's my little nerdy mind talking to
Yeah, I think we take an approach to this the way we approach everything, right? Heart, head, hands, feet. So the heart is the why, right? So why is asking for referral so critical to the mission, right? So I would suggest that asking for referral is intrinsic to the mission. You can't separate the two, right? You can't be on mission and not ask for referral, right? So if you do really embrace the purpose, and I'm not projecting here. I'm being careful not to project philosophy here, but I can share where I'm coming from, right? So where I'm coming from is I'm on purpose and I know what my purpose is. My purpose is to restore health. I understand the role that chiropractic, and even above that, the role that your paradigm plays in you actually having not only better health outcomes, but a better health experience. I have a moral obligation to share that, right? So it is not a question of oh yeah, I'm deciding to or choosing to or whatever. It's I have to share or my head's going to explode, right? So that's just the essence of the heart behind it. Now the how piece of it, that's the head, right? So which is well, what does it look like? Well, how do you do that, right? And I do think that there's a big mindset shift, as you said, that has to happen here. There's so many limiting beliefs where people, if you are inwardly focused, meaning you're focusing on yourself, what are people thinking about me when I say it that way? It's here's the truth. People aren't thinking about you. So it's it's not about you. This is about you serving the mission and the purpose, and people want to get behind a purpose that's worthwhile, right? So people want to believe in, a better future. And if you can help them see what's possible for them, and that chiropractic is a bridge to help them get there, next thing you know, you've got a whole bunch of people following you, right? And it would be incongruent for you not to be sharing the message, educating patients, and asking people to share the message, right? That literally gets to the point of incongruency, right? So you actually want to get yourself to the place where you would be out of integrity if you were not asking people for. It would seem really odd that you were not asking people, like who else do you know that's having a hard time getting well, or who's having a hard time, struggling with, overcoming some kind of health condition or some health challenge. Who do you know that's sick and tired of being sick and tired? Who do you know that wants to optimize the expression of their potential? Who do you know wants to increase their performance in the gym or on the field or in their workplace or in their home life? I mean, it's just like, why wouldn't you be talking about it, right? That's kind of getting your head around it and recognizing that at the end of the day, patient education is promotion, right? So by educating people, that is the essence of promoting. So, I believe, all of that being said, is that the promotion of chiropractic is an act of kindness, right? So to the point where I've got an obligation that it would be disingenuous and it would be incongruent for me not to be asking for a referral, and getting it to the point where I recognize that it's an act of kindness. And then it's hands and feet, which is how do you do it, which is probably a good conversation for us today. And a feet, which is practice, train. Like you got to role play this, just like anything you want to be awesome at, you train and you practice, and you and at the end of the day, I think it's an expression of how serious are you about this mission that we're on.
That's awesome. I think let's get practical on some deliverables, but I just want to shed some light on 3 concepts that you brought up, which is all about mindset. And really, if you're listening to this podcast, if you're like trying to get new patients, you have the mindset as I need new patients, that's a job and that's a task that you have to do. That's not living a mission. So there's 3 phrases Stephen said that came straight from his subconscious mind on the premise in which he operates. It's just a different consciousness. And if you can embrace that consciousness, it'll change your practice and change your life, because it changes from a task or a job to living an inspired mission. It's a shift. And it could happen at this podcast in 3 seconds, or it could take you a decade. It can happen at any time, or it may never happen. But the 3 things he said, number 1 is he said that it's a moral obligation. Think of that wording. It's a moral obligation to tell people about chiropractic. That's not about getting patients. It's about keeping his moral beliefs and who he is as a human. Then you said it's an act of kindness, and think about the mindset of it being kind to help someone with their health in chiropractic. And the third one, drawing a blank on the third one, it's the same premise. Oh, you'd be out of integrity.
That's
Think about if you don't ask for referrals, you're out of your own personal integrity. It's not about getting new patients, guys. It's living a premise in which you will stand and die for. It's a different way of living. So I can appreciate that. So I just wanted to call light to that. Hopefully, guys, you can put those on paper or tattoo and think through that. But that's the shift from I need new patients to I'm living a mission. So let's get into some of your favorites. I'm going to talk my first one. I always did phone consults. I don't hear a lot of people talking about that, but I don't know. I just loved someone in the office saying, my mom has headaches like me. And I'd be like, well, why don't I just give your mom a quick courtesy call? I don't want to make it a cold call, but would you mind telling your mom that I could talk to her for a few minutes and just guide her and see if chiropractic can help her, or I could give her direction, maybe another doctor, but ask her if she's interested and then bring her number. And then they bring the number. On the way home, I call the mom and I just say, hey, sorry to bother you. I'm Dr. Esposito. I'm Steven's chiropractor. And he had mentioned you have headaches. And I just want to do a courtesy call. I don't know if it's something chiropractic can help, but I thought we could chat. What do you think? They act like you're the president or the Pope when you call. They are so grateful that a doctor reached out. You would think it'd be weird. It's unweird. It's so natural and normal. And they're so grateful. Speak for 3 minutes. Mini consult, and see if they say I have an axe in the back of my head, then maybe don't bring them in the office, send them to the hospital. If they say, I don't know, I've had this pain for 20 years and been taking drugs, I don't know if it's chiropractic case, but maybe it makes sense to come in and let's take a quick look. If you want, I'm here for you. I don't know. I've done that, Stephen, and I could do 2, 3 a week and get 12 new patients on a couple phone calls on my way home from work. I don't think it'd get easier than that, but that's my one. What do you think of that?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, if we're talking specifically about lead generation internally or internal lead generation, referrals, right? There's 3 flavors of referral, right? So there's organic referral, there's process-driven referral, and there's campaign-driven referrals. So organic referrals mean happy people send more people, right? So it's just like, make sure if you're taking good care of people and you're loving on people and you're being nice to people and you do what you say you're going to do, you're keeping your promises, you're going to be surrounded by a whole bunch of happy people. And the concept of being surrounded it's a great consciousness. Like when you said, we don't need more new patients. The truth is there's no shortage of sick and suffering people all around your clinic, my clinic, and everyone that's listening right now. They have you surrounded, right? So there is no shortage of sick and suffering people. Once you recognize the abundance of need around you, it'll help you pick your head up and be able to say, I need to step into that need. Okay. So you don't need to create the need, right? So you need to create awareness. The demand is there, right? So we have a market that has huge demand. So once you recognize it's like, oh, the demand is all around me, it's swirling all around me, what I have to create is awareness, right? So I need to be able to step out into that marketplace. And the best way to do it is through your patients, because guess what? They are also surrounded. So as soon as you stop thinking about, oh, I've got this practice, I've got this business, and I've got a message and I've got to share my message to build my business, you've got that backwards, right? So you got to recognize that God gave you a platform to deliver a message. You don't deliver a message to build your business. You have a business in order to deliver the message, right? So as soon as you flip that around and you recognize that's when that message will come to you and through you. That's when you just recognize it's like, oh, this is what I'm here to tell. I'm telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, because those same people that have you surrounded have every single one of your patients surrounded. Okay, so people love to commiserate, right? So people love to talk about what's going wrong in their life and how stressed out they are. And because of the stress, they get all these problems. They can't sleep. They sleep too much. They're exhausted, fatigued. They have no energy. They're nervous, anxious. They've got depression. They've got digestive issues. They've got pain, spasticity, dysfunction, weakness, immunocompromise, manifesting in all these different body systems. I mean, that's all people talk about. So we don't know that because we don't spend time in those circles, right? So the people that we talk about, we're talking about growth and inspiration and the next level of wrestling. But most people, they spend their times commiserating, right? So why not equip your people to be able to actually share the story of chiropractic? So there's one reason, Joe, that I observed. The reason that we don't have more referrals than we know what to do with is because we don't equip our patients well to be able to step into the gap for people and share the chiropractic stories. Because the truth is you and I both know this, is that people will not talk about what they don't know about. If people don't feel confident to talk about chiropractic, if they know they're 1 or 2 questions away from sounding like an idiot, they're not going to bring up chiropractic, right? So if you recognize it's like, oh man, I've got to be able to, I've got an opportunity here to be teaching and training and inspiring my patients to share chiropractic. The first part of that is I got to teach them about chiropractic. Then I've got to train them on how to tell people about chiropractic. Then I've got to inspire them to tell people about chiropractic. Don't skip those first 2 steps. You've got to equip people, right? Because people don't talk about what they don't know about.
Yeah, that's so huge. And I like to break down also on you have it as organic, process-driven, and campaign-driven. I think the more we get granular on the data, we could see huge gaps because we're like, I don't have any campaign-driven referrals, so there's a gap that I can fill. So I think getting granular on the sources has helped me dramatically on the behaviors to fill the gaps. When it's just I need new patients and it's all one level analytic, it's hard. When you break it down, internal, external, digital, it becomes a little easier. You break down internal into 3 different ways, it becomes easier because those are all awareness and behavior points of, wow, I can do X or I can do Y.
Yeah, the process one gets really actionable, right? So the organic one is just sort of a barometer for QA, quality assurance. Like, are happy people sending more people? Check, right? So check yourself there, right? So if you're not seeing that, then you got to check yourself on that, right? Because then there's process. Process driven is like if patients just simply go through your process, And what do we mean by that? Like, this is an Align Life sponsored program. So one thing Align Life is famous for is this incredible process, right? So it's like, you don't have to make it up. It's like, we've got a day 0 process for marketing. We've got a day 0 to day 1 conversion process to have people come into the office. We've got a day 1 process. What does day 1 look like for a new patient consultation and an examination, right? So the discovery process of what is a day 1, right? Then what is day 2? We come in for a report of findings, recommendations for care, the financial reporting, right? First adjustment. That's a process. Day 3, where we onboard and we train and equip and create ideal patients so we can collect ideal patients. That's a process. Day 4 is a process. Week 4, month 4, year 4, it's all a process. They go through a process. We're not making it up as we go. There's a system to follow. Why is that powerful? Man, there's 12 reasons. I'm the systems guy. I'll give you 24 reasons why that's important. One of them is you don't have to think about or remember to ask for referral. Because if it's baked into your process and you follow the process, then just in the first 4 months, there's 52 opportunities to ask for referral in the first 4 months of our process, right? That people are like 52, there's like, no way. I'm like, okay, you're on. let's pull out the manual and let's get your highlighter out. And let me show you the 52 occasions where you're asking for referral in the first 4 months. Dr. Joe, if you're following the process, right, we recognize that the promotions are baked into the process.
Yeah, our good friend CJ Mertz said, when your procedures become your promotions and your promotions are your procedures, then the business just operates at a different level of scale.
That's exactly it. And, CJ's famous quote is, let your process be your promotions and your promotions be your process, right? So that's it. We both come with WLP in our DNA, right? So of the many things that Coach CJ taught us, it was you would be incongruent not to follow the process because the promotion is baked into the process.
Yeah, it's huge. And to reflect that on Align Life, that's what we see is we actually look at stats over like a 90-day cycle, look at those that engage and train, their growth percentage, their delta of growth is significantly different than not engaging and training. So, we know first is mindset, which we started the podcast on. And then we're talking about process. And the last part is execution. If you don't do the process, you can't get the outcome that you're looking for. And one of the things that I love that we have in Align Life is our practice diagnosis dashboard that's built into our software that allows us to literally diagnose a practice in about 10 seconds by looking at this document that talks about all conversions, all lead gen sources, and it can put to use some of the brilliance that you shared today from the mindset, but also the process of driving a business. So if you're out there and you're, whether you're stuck in scarcity, you lost a mission-based mindset, and you want to learn more about what we do in the Align Life journey, we love to do a practice diagnosis and a study of where there's gaps maybe in your current process that we can help fill. So if you're interested in that, we'd love to engage and help guide you in that way. So, Stephen, I think I just lost you, but I was here. Stephen is back.
Hey, sorry, man. I froze there for like 15 seconds. So,
Stephen, I was just going through some closing thoughts on wrapping up the referral mission-based mindset. So in closing, I will say, number one is you got to get, as Stephen was saying, you got to start with the heart and the why. And you got to be on the mission. You got to be doing this because you're called to spread a mission, and then you built a business around a mindset and a premise. And then, as you said, Stephen, second is the heart. I'm sorry, the head is how are we going to? What systems are we going to use to execute that? And then the hands is the execution. The feet is how do we scale? Train the team, and train, and especially start looking at your data: organic versus process driven versus campaign driven. Stephen, thank you so much for coming on today. Appreciate all your insights. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Joe. Always a pleasure.
This episode was brought to you by Align Life Chiropractic and Natural Health Centers. If you're interested in creating your dream practice or want to know more about Align Life, go to alignlifepodcast.com.